Several buckets of water are poured into a sieve by Volodymyr Lyashenko, a researcher at Kyiv National University. By examining these samples, it will be possible to determine the species diversity. Then, the man proceeds to collect samples of invertebrate animals in the thickets of the Chumhak River. All this is done to assess the overall ecological state of the water body. Based on species composition, diversity, abundance, and biomass of these animals, conclusions about the condition of the river can be drawn. The captured animals are handed over to students. They sort them from plankton and algae, says second-year student Ol Piven. For example, here we have a dragonfly larva, an amphibian. We are interested in it too, we collect it and put it into a jar with formalin. At the same time, oxygen saturation and the level of water pollution are tested. The hydrochemical composition is analyzed by student Maria Izakina. She says the results will later be compared with standards to determine water quality. Here we can do the most essential tests: nitrites and nitrates, pH, carbonate hardness, total hardness, as well as phosphates and ammonium ions. To avoid harming nature during the river restoration process, the surrounding flora and fauna are also studied. Plant and insect samples are taken, and camera traps are installed, says Denis Lazarev, a postgraduate student at the Schmalhausen Institute of Zoology. The camera traps record animals coming to the river to drink. All samples from the Chumhak River will be studied at the Kyiv Institute of Biology and Medicine, explains Alexander Rozanov, head of the NGO Protection of Small Rivers in Ukraine. He says the restoration project will be developed based on these results. While European countries began restoring small rivers back in the 20th century, in Ukraine this process is only just beginning. The network of small rivers in Ukraine is quite dense, and it is important to understand that small rivers form large ones. If the small rivers disappear, the big rivers will disappear too. He notes that this river began to dry up in 2010. This was preceded by the construction of dams. As a result, a pond formed, and without a current, the water became silted. This, he says, had a negative impact on the ecosystem. We can see dry tree trunks all along the riverbank. These dead trees once marked the river's edge. But after a dam was built downstream, this area became flooded. And this forest, birch and alder groves, was simply destroyed due to excessive moisture. According to Alexander, the project aims to restore 22 kilometers of the river. The first kilometers of the restored riverbed, we can say it will take about a year and a half to 2 years. But the full restoration of the Chumhak riverbed within the Shramkivka community, 22 kilometers in total, will take 10 years. The initial stage of the project is funded through membership fees of the organization and the help of volunteers, Alexander says. Restoring 22 kilometers will cost 5 million hryvnias. And if we talk about restoring the entire riverbed, including other communities' territories, the cost will reach 10 million. Natalia Starinets, Alexander Kostenikov, Suspil News, Cherkasy.